So, what do you want to play? Cooperative or competitive, either way. Okay, doesn't matter. Hey, let's play Arkham Horror. Ah, come on, we play that all the time. Alright, fine. Hey, we can do Catan. What, with 2 players? Yeah, but with 2 players, that wouldn't be very fun. Oh, I know just the thing. Let's play Pokemon Master Trainer. Don't be stupid. Okay, fine. Wait. I know just the thing. Let's play some Terra Mystica. Bring it. You and I, we're going to war. Terra Mystica is a highly strategic and little to no luck involved game where players enlist as one of 14 different factions in order to transform the land into their home terrain, build structures to earn rewards, and ultimately use those resources to control enough power and earn the most victory points to become the winner. Hands down, this has been my favorite board game of all time. The game is played over 6 rounds, and each round has 3 parts: the income phase, the action phase, and then the cleanup phase. After the end of the 6th round, the player with the most victory points wins. You gain victory points in many different ways, by taking advantage of round bonuses, increasing your shipping track, lowering spade costs, making towns, and using certain faction special abilities, among some other means to acquire points. Players pick a faction at the beginning of the game and need to consider the faction's special abilities, the costs of structures, and the overall playstyle the faction aims for. The essence of Terra Mystica is developing land to build and upgrade buildings which yield various rewards as the game progresses. These resources come in the form of workers represented by the cubes, coins, power, priests, and certain abilities can be used throughout the game. When the game begins, everyone places their first dwellings on the board and only on their home terrain indicated at the top right here. The neighboring hexes can then be transformed later by using workers to acquire spades, and then using those spades to lay your home terrain. Certain terrain types cost more than others, indicated by the spades in between your home terrain and the space you wish to transform. You may only build structures on your own terrain. At the beginning of the game, you'll start with a certain pool of resources that's indicated at the top right here. That's basically workers, coins, and you'll start at certain spots on varying cult tracks. And this all varies depending on what faction you chose. Once the initial dwelling placements have occurred, you'll look on your player board for the open hand symbol, and that means income. So for round 1, you basically get some workers and whatever resources come from the bonus card you chose. After the income phase, the action phase begins. You can take any of the actions on this list. Once you do something, your opponent will take their turn, and then you can do something else until all players eventually pass. These actions include transforming land, moving on the shipping track, which gives you some points, lowering your spade cost, which also gives you points, upgrading a building, moving on the cult track by playing a priest, playing some of your power from Bowl 3 to take a power action on the game board, using a separate power action from a bonus card or a favor tile, and then passing your turn taking for this round. The first player to pass during a round then becomes the starting player for the following round. Now, this can all seem really overwhelming, so without boring you to tears explaining every rule and every nuance of the game, I'm just going to explain to you why I enjoy Terra Mystica so much. First and foremost, there's little to no luck involved. The only random element of the game is dependent on what round bonuses and what bonus cards are in play. It's not a game where the roll of the dice or a flip of the card controls the flow of the game. It's all about planning. Every time you upgrade a structure, you put the old one back on your player board, covering up the reward you were getting before. This requires a lot of planning for future turns. Each faction also has their own strengths, and you want to maximize your gameplay around what they're good at. For example, my favorite faction, the Alchemists, can turn points into coins, or you can turn 2 coins into a point. The reason I like the game so much is just because of the strategy and the gameplay itself. Besides the obvious workers and coins to build things, power is the most important resource you have. Power allows you to buy actions otherwise unavailable to you, and these rewards help expedite your building and future goals. There are several ways to get power, but the most common one is to take power from adjacent players. If a player builds or upgrades a structure directly adjacent to you, then you have the opportunity to take power, though not for free. Each building has a power value, and you total up all of the buildings that are connected next to the other player and are allowed to take that much power at the cost of victory points minus 1. So in this example, my buildings total a power value of 5, so I can gain 5 power, but I have to pay 4 points. this constant push and pull of transforming, building, upgrading, worrying about the call track, it's just thrilling. It gets your mind working, and you feel like you have total control over what happens to your faction throughout the game. The gameplay is just very solid, and it feels like the game designers thought of everything. While the strategy gap may be high for new players, I'd still recommend Terra Mystica to anyone looking for just an overall great board game experience. And while it does take a little while to play, I've personally already gotten many hours of enjoyment out of it, and I'm not going to stop there. And with an expansion that adds 6 factions, new scoring elements, and new terrain types, I'm sure I'm going to have many more play sessions in the future. Yeah, and you'll lose every single time. Fine, let's go again. Let's go again.